Hello? Hello? Hello and welcome to the water treatment facility. As expected by your qualifications, you should be well equipped enough to navigate our safe and reliable chambers. Any questions or complications can be brought to engineers upon completion of your designated tasks. Warning, we are not liable for any side effects of our facility's construction and duties, which may include broken limbs, RNA reconstruction, nausea, gravity changes, large gap, and or undisclosed protocol. Now go out there and do your job properly.
Water Treatment Chambers is a Garry's Mod parkour map released in early 2023 under the Forerunner Gaming domain. Created by the Black Parade and developed by Brassx, it is the third iteration in a series of parkour maps designed to utilize Source Engine movement and mechanics to the extreme. From platforming all the way to water surfing, these maps had it all. But what if it went further? Wall running was a mechanic developed in the second iteration of water treatment and was an integral part to navigating the large open-world sections of the map. It also found itself prevalent in the most difficult level of the map, Agony. This level was designed to be intentionally difficult to challenge those who found the first iteration of water treatment to be too easy. Agony has blind jumps, tight parkour, and yes, wall running. Wall running can be performed by utilizing any of your movement keys and moving your mouse towards the wall. This allows you to ride the wall forwards. By pressing the spacebar, you will jump off the wall in the direction that you were facing. There is also a stamina bar mechanic built in, preventing you from riding the wall for too long. This stamina bar replenishes a few seconds after you touch the ground or stay in the air for long enough. You can also utilize crouch jumping to reach higher ledges, as well as strafing in midair to preserve your wall jump for longer. The tutorial level is always the best place to start, and since we're so attuned with the first stage, let's continue onwards. The tutorial introduces us to wall running and buttons. Buttons are simple. Press it and it opens the door. The further we get into the more difficult levels, these buttons become more convoluted. For now, we progress to the third stage and are introduced to two more mechanics. The catapult will launch us forwards in the air and immediately launch us to our death. Why is that? Well, that's where the next mechanic comes in. RNA reconstruction. You may have noticed this blue pillar here, and these pillars will reconstruct your RNA so that you can pass through the corresponding lasers. Alternatively, you could just ignore it entirely by strafing when you hit the catapult so that you reach the next section. Skips are very prevalent in chambers, and any skips that are frequently used I will make sure to show. Additionally, we can use this catapult to skip a small section over here and complete our first level. But we aren't done with the tutorial yet, because we actually have to do this course normally. If we head back this way and make our way to these wall runs here, there's actually a small corridor hidden behind this wall, with the blue pad hidden on the ceiling. By jumping into it, we are taken to our next level.
Rats, we are the rats. Celebrating everyone birthday bash. Michael, it's your birthday today.
Cheese Tube is our first secret stage that we can find in the main levels. However, it's not a secret stage unlike some that will come up later. This stage focuses on movement and navigation through a series of rotating death pillars to reach the end. The best way to go about this is crouching and sprinting, as you are able to retain your sprint speed while making yourself smaller. Once we make it past the final pillar, we have completed the second stage with 10 more remaining. By returning to the hub area, we can use beacons from completing the tutorial and cheese tube stages to unlock our next level. My Friend the Walls is our crash course to learning the more advanced aspects of wall running, such as blind jumps, stamina preservation, and wall jumping. The first stage has us wall running to hit buttons and open subsequent doors. Nothing too difficult, and once we jump over this gap, we are taken into the second stage. Going through this portal, we are reintroduced to the RNA mechanic. We will pick up this RNA and continue forwards with more button parkour and... ah shit, I messed up the jump. Going back in, we... wait a minute. That's not the same. The second stage can have us navigating through two different paths, with blue or green RNA completely at random. For this introduction, I will do the blue RNA path. After a few wall runs and catapults, we find the exit for the green RNA path here, but we must continue further to find the blue RNA exit. Pushing a button, climbing a ladder, and navigating some wall runs leads us to our blue RNA exit, conveniently right on top of the green RNA entrance, taking us to the third and final stage of My Friend the Walls. This stage is designed to be completed in one continuous run through without any stops. Once we go through this portal, we must follow this path. Hug the left side to not fall to our death and continue to the left. We must hit both of these buttons to open a door further on and progress through this door in front of us. We wrap back around to where we started and head this way to where we must hit another button to open one final door, which completes My Friend the Walls. However, there is a secret stage we must complete. In stage 2, when we take the green RNA path, if we do a blind jump to the left, we can find ourselves in the next secret stage. Looks familiar, right? This is Agony from the second iteration of water treatment. Specifically, these are stages 1 and 3 of Agony. These two stages are not as difficult as they were from the second iteration, but can still be a small challenge. But once we climb up to the top of stage 3, we've completed our second secret stage. With the completion of My Friend the Walls, we've earned ourselves another beacon, which allows us to open our next level. I hate this level. Not necessarily because it's hard or unfun. Well, it is unfun, but for the wrong reason. There is a bug that haunts me, and I can't escape it. And the culprit is this teleport pad right here. We'll get back to this cretin. Where No Eagles Fly is one of the most diverse levels of chambers, consisting of many different mechanics throughout its 3 stages, as well as introducing us to a few new ones. Stage 1 has us quickly progressing to get across this pit where we can progress to the next stage. After some jumps and some catapults, we must quickly run across this bridge and back to unlock the door, which introduces us to a new mechanic, gravity. These gravity fields shift our gravity to be much heavier, forcing us to jump over tiny gaps or we quickly plummet to our death. Heading back across the pit, we meet the evil teleport pad. So why is this teleport pad an issue? Well, watch what happens when I take it into stage 2. Seems fine, right? My gravity is reverted back to normal and none of my movement is restricted. Watch me do it again. That's not normal gravity. And look at me trying to progress into stage 2. Not possible. You plummet immediately to your death. How often does this happen? I did an experiment and went through the portal 30 times just to see how often it occurred, and it happened 9 times. 30% of the time you were dead because of a bug. So I got in contact with the map developer, the Black Parade, for help. Here was the conversation. Is there any way you can explain why you might retain the high gravity from Where No Eagles Fly stage 1 going into Where No Eagles Fly stage 2? It is legitimately the #1 cause of my death during my runs.
I believe it's because of server lag. So, when you touch that teleport, you're also touching another trigger for gravity, specifically to reset it. Sometimes your model isn't touching the gravity trigger, or the server is ignoring that gravity input because you teleport away too fast for the game to recognize you were in it. You can try to walk into the teleport ring to see if that fixes it. So, before you leave, walk into the ring instead of sprinting into it.
Sounds reasonable. Perhaps I was going too fast and the server wasn't able to recognize my player teleporting and failed to shift my gravity back to normal. So I utilized his advice and went as slow as possible, ensuring to take my time so that it would recognize me when I teleport. And the results? Well, it actually did help. Because of the I did another 30 tests walking instead of running into the teleport and ended up with the bug occurring 8 times, practically the same amount. It's unavoidable and it's a guaranteed death or restart if it were to occur during an actual run. Did anyone even playtest this map before it was released?
Hey, if I gave you the map and wall running code for water treatment chambers, would you make a trailer for it? You could test it out too if there's any problems or changes you have in mind.
Okay, that's my bad. That's on me. Anyways, on to stage 2 where we have a much tighter parkour progression. We must hit this button and wait for the timer to progress so that we can land on the retracting platform at the top. Then we have another new mechanic with gas. By hitting this button over here, we disable the gas in this section temporarily so that we can progress. If you touch the gas, it will return you to the start of the section, but the timer is very lenient so we are able to move forward quickly. After a small parkour section to grab some RNA, we come upon the last part of stage 2 with one more new mechanic. Abyssal platforms are simply timed platforms. Stand on them and they'll disappear after a second. We must safely traverse these lasers to reach the bottom. Stage 3 is one of the shortest and longest stages in chambers at the same time. I'll show you the long route first. Ready? Drop down here, grab the blue RNA, traverse through this section, hit this button, return to the blue RNA, hit the blue catapult, traverse through these corridors to grab the green RNA, hit the green catapult to return to the blue RNA, hit this green catapult, traverse through this section, grab the red RNA, catapult back to the blue RNA, perform a tough jump to make it to the red catapult, catapult back up to the top, and hit a precise bunny hop off this red catapult to complete the stage. Approximate time to complete, 1 minute and 27 seconds. Now let's see the short way. Drop down here, right at the top of the wall, and perform a precise wall jump to finish the stage. Approximate time to complete, less than 10 seconds. That's quite a time skip, but the jump is pretty hard to perform reliably in a run through of every single level. It was still worth mentioning due to how it skips the entire stage. Where No Eagles Fly also contains a secret stage, and you've already actually seen it. If you noticed when we completed stage 2, there was a glass wall separating us from a parkour section. This is referred to as the glass parkour, and we can get there by heading back to stage 2, and when we're in the gas section, we jump around this wall to find a secret teleport. This secret stage is not hard by any means, but it is a necessity to complete the run. It also has the added bonus of requiring me to run through Where No Eagles Fly twice, which means I have an approximate 49% chance of completing both the secret stage and the normal stage without encountering the forbidden gravity bug. This level was a roadblock for the wrong reasons, but with our completion, we obtained yet another beacon. Next up, Smoked and Rolled is by far the most unique level of chambers, as each stage has next to no connection with the last, and has entirely different concepts that it focuses around for each stage. The first stage begins with an elevating platform and the exit teleport locked behind a door. To progress, we must jump down here and press a series of buttons to unlock a door underneath to proceed forwards. Alternatively, there's a skip we can do utilizing Garry's mod physics so that we do not have to do the parkour at all. Momentum is weirdly calculated, as when you are on a moving platform, you aren't being moved up at a constant velocity, but being pushed up by the object you are standing on. So if you precisely time your jump as you land on the elevating platform, you will be launched upwards while maintaining your velocity and be able to jump to the next section. This button over here opens the door to the exit teleport, but is blocked by blue RNA lasers. Proceeding forwards, we do some parkour and are able to grab the blue RNA and return back to the starting area. We can either do this part normally again, or use the skip I just showed you again to do it faster. Press the button, and proceed to the second stage. The second stage disables our sprint and has us standing on a moving platform while dodging obstacles in our way. The first 3 parts aren't hard, but the fourth has us moving much slower and requires us to do some jumping and wall running to catch up with the platform. After that, we are taken to an elevator that we activate by pressing this button. For the split path, we go to the left and jump across this spike pit. Then there is one more elevator that we must activate by pressing this button here. When we start to see the platform, we must hit this button to disable gas that is further up the elevator. Once we reach the top, we perform a quick wall run and proceed to the final stage. As soon as we enter, our gravity is increased and we must run across this bit until we reach solid ground. We must do some parkour until we reach another gravity shift and our gravity is back to normal. We can return to the starting area and head up to the top, where we can grab the blue RNA, but our gravity is shifted once again. Without falling to our death, we go through these series of portals until we reach the top portal and our gravity is shifted back to normal. We then return to where these portals were, and travel across and through these blue lasers to complete Smoked and Rolled. While this level can be tedious to do, it is definitely on the more fun side compared to other levels. There's also another secret stage located in this level, and it is by far my favorite one due to how it's hidden. In stage 2, when we reach the very top, we can sit on top of the exit teleport while the elevator retracts to the bottom, revealing the portal to the secret stage. Similar to My Friend the Walls, this secret stage is Agony stages 2 and 4 from the second iteration of water treatment. These stages are not too difficult to complete, and with a quick wall jump to the end, we've completed another level and its secret stage. With that is another beacon to unlock our next level, which may be the most infuriating one so far. Okay, I'm not doing this bit again, but I do actually hate this level more than Where No Eagles Fly. Microcuts is a puzzle level that utilizes flying man hacks that you have to guide and open doors throughout the stages to progress, and it's a very cool concept. Small issue. Man hacks aren't very smart. Man hacks will only follow you if you have line of sight, which I'll refer to as LOS, and will stop where they're at once they no longer have LOS. While not an issue most of the time, sometimes we receive effective man hacks that could care less to follow you. The first stage is pretty simple. We must climb up to the top while guiding a man hack to these activation walls that act like buttons to open doors in front of us. In the second part of the stage, we must slowly guide another man hack past a kill wall and around a blind corner, which is where we can start to see the issues with these man hacks. If you go too fast, you'll lose LOS with the man hack and they'll stop following you. Look, I don't want to hate you. Hate is a strong word, but if you do not follow me, there's gonna be some issues, okay? Anyways, we got the man hack past one more kill barrier and into an activation door to complete the first stage. The second stage is much smaller, but requires more precise man hack guidance. We hit this button to spawn our man hack, and must quickly make it up to the top before the man hack flies into the kill barrier. Then it must be guided into this small room where you could easily lose LOS and sprint at the same time, but it tends to be much more cooperative here. Using some tactics such as letting the man hack charge into you to stall it, and strafing around its charge allows us to guide into the activation barrier and progress to the final stage. This final stage is the perfect depiction of the stupidity of man hacks. Firstly, when you spawn the man hack, it'll get stuck in this cubicle unless you sit there and have it scooch towards you. You must intentionally lose LOS with this so that you can open up the door to the second part and guide it towards a waiting room. We can leave this man hack here while we do this part. We must perform a blind jump and wall run to hit this button to disable the gas in the next part. We go through this portal and we're taken to a small parkour section, and we must hit all the buttons to unlock a door so that we can guide the man hack into the final activation barrier. With the door open, we can... hello? Man hack? Hello? Hello? Successfully guiding the man hack into the activation barrier on the other side completes microcuts. While definitely not a difficult level, accounting for man hack intelligence is a necessity to prevent a soft lock in specific sections throughout the stages. We attain another beacon, and we can move on to a much more fun level. Evil's Chambers is considered to be one of the easiest levels, as well as the most fun one. This level prioritizes dynamic parkour and backtracking to progress through the level, and 2 of the 3 stages involve multiple RNA reconstructions. The first stage has us navigating across a chasm to obtain the blue RNA, in which we return back to the start to hit this button. We proceed to the right to see that it has opened a door to the green RNA, in which we must return back to the start again to hit this other button. We then go back to where the blue RNA was to see that the button opened an area behind the blue RNA with the red RNA. We run up to this door and... yeah, if you're hugging against a moving object, in many cases a sliding door, you will instantly die. So from now on we will keep a safe distance until the sliding door has retracted. Anyways, we do some parkour and hop above where the green RNA was to progress to the second stage. We start off by climbing upwards to grab the blue RNA, which we can quickly grab by utilizing this small skip here. We must then quickly hit a sequence of buttons that requires us switching RNA in between the latter 2 buttons to unlock the red RNA. Once we have the red RNA, we can head back up to the top and progress to the final stage. This stage has a mechanic that I didn't talk about previously with microcuts due to how little it is used, but since it appears here, it's worth talking about. These are invisible wall runs, which allow you to phase through the wall and run on either side. While tricky to handle at first, they are essentially the same as normal wall runs as long as you stay on the outside of the wall. We must traverse these invisible walls across this chasm to hit a button that opens the door above. Once past this door, we must hit a sequence of buttons while phasing through many invisible wall runs and jumping off others. This final corridor has us wall riding a few more invisible walls and phasing through a series of invisible walls to complete the level. Definitely one of the shorter levels in Chambers, but the most fun. There's a secret level to address in Evils, and we can fight it in stage 2. Heading up to this upper section, wall running around this corner, we can ride an invisible wall run and jump up to this portal here to enter our final secret stage. This stage has a very unique mechanic that we can see right as we drop down. That's right, we don't get to progress without blindly jumping forwards. All the walls are covered in wall runs that we can utilize, but it won't be necessary. We are able to jump to all the platforms just using our movement keys. To make it easier to visualize, this map will show where I am at in the parkour. We first start off in the center and make our way to the closest corner to the blue RNA. We then crouch jump off the first small platform and take note of our location. If we're close enough, we are able to crouch jump to the blue RNA. Once again, depending on our position, we are able to jump back to the middle. We then jump to the spike platform, jump across to the side platform, jump back on the other side of the spike platform, and finish the stage by jumping past the blue RNA lasers. While the stage isn't too difficult, it can be tough when muscle memory doesn't kick in, which is why there's a possibility for us to skip the harder section of the stage. If we jump down at the proper timing, we can run while it's dark, but the lights are still on. If we time it just right, we are able to jump to the blue RNA and back before we are frozen and resume the level normally. With our completion of Evil's Chambers, we have completed all the main levels of Chambers, but we're not quite done yet. Upon our completion of Evil's, we obtained a Trailblazer badge that we can use to unlock one more level. We must return to the hub and make our way to this vent. Jumping across this sewage pit shows us a pipe with the badge labeled on it. Pressing use on our badge takes us to our final level. Anguish is the agony equivalent for Chambers, as it was intended to be a challenge for the more proficient parkour players. Each stage contains type parkour or difficult navigation to make each stage more challenging than the previous, and is by far the longest of all Chambers levels. The first stage has us jumping across spike pits to catapult ourselves up to a corridor of spike walls that we must tightly traverse through. We hit this button and quickly travel across the chasm and make our way to this little section and continue upwards. After performing some tight jumps and wall riding some invisible walls, the first stage is complete. The second stage, however, is much different. As soon as we walk in, we can see that it's ginormous, and there is a lot to go through. Jump to the right over here through this portal for a small parkour section to obtain the blue RNA. You must then return down back to this button. We have to press this to start up a lift for the next section. While running over here, there's 2 buttons we must press to progress to the lift. We can stall for a little bit while we wait for the lift to rise, and we take it to a higher section. After some precise parkour, we can obtain the green RNA. You might be wondering where we go from here. Well, that's because we must take a leap of faith. Shit. Okay, let's try it again. Alright, we made it. We walk through this portal and we enter an elevator. Slowly rising up, we must walk out and run through a small parkour section to open up a door to the green RNA. This allows us to reach the top. After a few catapults and wall runs, we find the exit to stage 2 and progress to the final stage. Entering, we see the exit portal immediately, but there's gas blocking it which will teleport us to a different area. This is probably one of my favorite sections throughout all of Chambers as it takes inspiration from 2D platforming. We must hit a series of buttons to deactivate gas and make it through 3 floors of parkour. The third one specifically can be challenging since the small platforms are deceivingly small, so taking your time here is essential. After we complete the 2D parkour, we're catapulted over to the blue RNA, and if we hit another catapult, we're taken into the upper area of the stage. We get 2 buttons. If we hit one of those, it spawns a... No, please, not again, please. Anything but that. Yeah, we have to deal with one more man-hack, but this man-hack is somewhat more enjoyable compared to the ones found in microcuts. We must guide it into the gas in front of us so that it gets teleported, in which we disable the gas and jump up here. This section would be a lot harder, but due to an oversight, the missing floor is actually a real floor that we can run on. We find the man-hack teleported over this pit, and we must guide it into this activation barrier here. This will open a door that was behind us when we first entered this upper section. It has the green RNA and the button to disable the gas in the first part of the stage. Dropping down here, we see the exit portal, and with that, we've completed Anguish in the entirety of Chambers. While difficult, Anguish can definitely be consistent once you have enough practice with... Oh no. Yeah, there's a reason this is the hardest level, because it doesn't even end at the 3rd stage. There is a 4th stage that must also be completed, and it is easily the longest and arguably most difficult stage in Chambers. To begin, we must press this first button, which will start a timer for the entire course, putting us on a time limit to fully complete the stage. There are a ton of paths that we have to follow to open up the final door, and our first path is straight ahead. We jump over here to press this button and open up the door to the blue RNA. We must then jump low enough to where we do not die from fall damage and get launched by this catapult to hit this button. We backtrack to the blue RNA to hit this button to open the door again so we can return to the main area. We then wrap around this corner and proceed into this section where we perform a blind jump onto this catapult. To the right is a button that opens up the door to the next section, in which we must precisely land on this abyssal platform. The platform disappears to reveal another button, and we must make our way back to the area we came from. There is a green catapult hidden on the column of this wall that we must hit to return to the main area, in which we proceed to the left where we can find the red RNA. Our gravity is shifted, and we must land low enough so that we do not die to fall damage. Walking through this reverts our gravity back to normal, and we must perform a few neo jumps around these spikes to make it to the final button. We hear a small ding, which confirms that we hit every necessary button in the level to unlock the final door. We must wait for this abyssal platform to come back so that we can make our way to the main area. We can see that the final door opened, and with a few more wall jumps, we have now completed Anguish and the entirety of Chambers. With that, I have shown you the ins and outs of every level and secret stage that can be found in Chambers. Now all there is to do is complete every single one in a row without dying a single time. There is no ideal order to completing the levels, but there is only one thing I'm holding myself to. Anguish must be the last level I complete. With all of that accounted for, here is the deathless completion of Water Treatment Chambers. Finally. Did I get stuck? Huh? Hold on. What? I'm so confused. My music just scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Hold on. Yeah, my music just scared the absolute shit out of me. Holy shit. Like, I was locked in, and then I just get the loudest fucking, like, transition of a song ever. Fucking amazing. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my music to lock in here. Nice. Just need to regenerate some health here. Just one more stage. Or one more. Oh my god. I fucking did it. I hate this. This was the worst. This was the worst decision I've ever made. But I finally did it. Oh, thank God. What do I get? Absolutely nothing. Over the span of 31 hours worth of attempts, I accumulated approximately 1,202 deaths. The breakdown of these deaths from least to most goes as follows. Surprising, right? The most difficult level of Chambers having only 2 deaths? That's because I specifically chose to do English last because of how consistent I was at it. After all, I do hold the only sub 5-minute completion of the course. Only 2 other runs had me dying at this final junction, and the third time I got here was the run you just saw. I initially had my run starting out with the tutorial stage, but as time progressed and I became more disgruntled, I decided to move it more towards the middle. I'd attribute most deaths in this level to reeling from a previous death and not paying attention to starting a new run. It is pretty funny to have more than 5 times the deaths in the tutorial level over the hardest level. I'm not too surprised this level has minimal deaths, but I do not think I was expected 14. Many of these deaths can be attributed to getting stuck in sections such as the latter half of Stage 3 due to uncooperative manhacks and or retrying Stage 2 to the point of dying from fall damage.
Rex, we are the Rex.
This stage requires attention no matter what, as if you zone out at any part you are more than likely going to get caught up in one of the rotating beams and die quickly. About half of my deaths from this stage came after shifting both this and the tutorial level towards the middle of the run, which definitely made it a bit more disheartening when dying 10 minutes into a run to a relatively easy level. For evils to be middle of the pack deathwise is pretty surprising to me. I find this level to be the third easiest among all other stages after tutorial and cheese tube, but it also caused more death than those two combined. Small mistakes and source shenanigans in Stage 1 account for the majority of deaths, with the rest coming from Stage 3 with the invisible wall runs. For a day worth of attempts, I chose to make Smoked and Rolled the level to start my runs with due to how tedious it can be. While you can take the normal route in Stage 1, it tends to be much riskier and slower than trying to do the platform skip instead. But if you do miss the platform skip, you have to wait for the platform to retract so you can attempt it again. So I would wait, and wait, and wait. But a lot of the deaths come from Stage 2, where the moving platforms would end up causing a lot of trouble. And there were a good few deaths in Stage 3 from overestimating how harsh the gravity can be when wall running. Similar to Smoked and Rolled, I dedicated a little over half a day worth of attempts to starting with my friend the walls. I found that putting this level towards the middle of the run caused me to make way more mistakes than I was comfortable with, and I would rather start with it than lose a run 10 minutes in to a mistimed wall jump. As shown by my completion, that is what ended up being the winning formula. Stage 2 has many tight wall runs into small ledges that are hard to stay on if you do not properly space it, and you are not guaranteed to have a consistent playthrough of it each time, as you can enter with the blue or green RNA. Stage 3 isn't difficult by any means, but doing it in one go requires precise wall jumping to preserve stamina and not plummet to your death. I really do not know where to start with this level. Do I think it's fun? Somewhat. But the bug that can occur with gravity leading into stage 2 is by far the most annoying thing to completing a run, as there is no way to prevent it from happening. Besides that, it took me a while to get used to the cycle of the laser drop in stage 2, as well as the latter half of stage 3. While I did attempt the massive skip in stage 3 a good few times, I was not consistent enough at it to reasonably attempt it as often as I had wanted to. At most, you only get 2 tries at it if you manage to land back on the platform below, and failing results in a complete do-over of the entire run. I counted all deaths to secret stages as any progression towards a secret stage and or a death in a secret stage. I bet you can guess where a majority of these deaths came from. While the agony secret stages weren't difficult by any means, attributing to a very small proportion of overall deaths, Your Worst Nightmare became more and more infuriating to play. I lost all my muscle memory of Garry's mod movement mechanics and became extremely disgruntled. Fortunately, taking a break and going to sleep managed to recover my muscle memory to regain my consistency. However, the combination of both the progression to Where No Eagles Flies secret stage and Your Worst Nightmare separates the secret stages as by far the most death-ridden levels of the attempts. This video was initially going to be much longer, diving deep into the history of the courses and where they originated from. Perhaps in the future, if it seems necessary, I'll come back to water treatment. The 4th iteration, designated Water Treatment Simulations, is currently in development and will eventually be released, which may entail a revisit to the series. But thank you for watching, and thanks to the Black Parade, Brassx, and the Forerunner Gaming community for the continued existence of water treatment. Here are some extra fun stats as a send-off, and once again, thank you for watching.